And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest and greatest episode of Game Rivals. I am one of your hosts, Maxemillian X, and as always, with me is the man with the master plan, the man who will, maybe, potentially by this November, will be saying, boy, once more. It's SeanTemplar. How's it going, Sean?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited for November. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I am still very pessimistic about November, but we'll see. We'll see. Anything can happen. Doesn't
Luckily,
matter if
the
you
whole Sony
announce a date.
base doesn't rely on you buying the game or you endorsing the game. Luckily, we can
Uh
live
huh.
without your opinion on the game. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think it still could be
But
delayed, but we'll see.
I mean, I don't know. It was announced in a weird way. So you know what? Let's let actually, if we're gonna talk about it, let's get into it. So for news, let's start off with God of War Ragnarok getting a release date,
Yep.
November 9th.
Yes.
All right, I got it right because there was a little bit of
It's
confusion
actually a
because
weird day because normally games come out
yeah.
on a Friday, and I think November 9th is a Wednesday.
Well, it's not like they haven't done that before. I think
I
the
know, but
last time they did something like that,
usually
but
like major releases like this come out on a Friday.
there's probably a reason why they did it on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
They probably looked at the release schedule and was like,
probably.
that's probably the best day to release it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is releasing in that week of November, but you never know.
I think like 1 week or 2 weeks before you get Modern Warfare 2. So
Yeah, but does that crowd overlap? I don't know.
no, but if you have, for example, in my friend group, a friend of mine is now playing God of War. He hasn't played it when it came out, so he's playing it right now, and he
Mhm.
likes the game. But I know for a fact in his situation if he has to spend money, he will spend it rather on Call of Duty than on God of War, even though God of War is the better game. And I think like a lot of people will be in a situation like, okay, I can only spend my $80 once. What do I buy for it? And I think a lot will buy Modern Warfare, and I think another group will buy Call of Duty or God of War because they're just single player game fans, or they just like God of War. I think it's
Mm.
like a pretty decisive. It could swing either way.
I mean, yeah, I mean it could. I mean, I will say this fall is gonna be stacked
Honestly, I
because
don't know with what, because besides God of War and Bayonetta
yeah, it's
and
Bayonetta,
but
which also got a release date
yeah,
with a sweet new trailer.
but like
Love it.
Bayonetta, God of War, Call of Duty, and Callisto Protocol. That's it.
Yeah.
At least that's what I can think
Oh,
of.
that's a good point. I'm pretty sure there's more than that though,
No,
right?
there's no
Or
Microsoft
stuff got
exclusive.
delayed.
Yeah, because Starfield was going to come out, but got pushed.
That got pushed. Forspoken also got pushed again
Yep,
till next year.
yep. So there's
So yeah,
basically like
that's a good point.
there's nothing coming out this year besides the games that I just mentioned, and there's probably loads of indie stuff coming out. For example, I'm personally really looking forward to F1 Manager, which is coming out next month, and I'll probably spend a lot
Mhm.
of time in that. But there is like there isn't a lot coming out this year, and I know like is from a Sony point of view, the next few years will be very exciting because next year we'll get Spider-Man 2, and then maybe the
Mhm.
year after we'll get Wolverine, and then
Mhm.
there's still something Sucker Punch is working on.
Wait, who's making Wolverine?
Not Insomniac as well.
Do they have two teams to make like dual games?
Yeah, yeah, they've had that for years.
Oh, okay,
And
I
then
wasn't sure.
Wolverine, and then the guys at Sucker Punch are working on something. Last of Us Part One remake just went gold, so that's coming out in a couple of weeks. And then we'll get probably the Factions multiplayer standalone game next year from them.
Mhm.
So, and that's only the stuff we know. I mean, we're getting the Horizon VR game probably next year. Um,
You think the VR is not coming out this year?
I honestly don't know. I think it could be nice, but seeing as the supply chain issues right now, I don't know if it's. I mean, I'd still say that the VR is niche because, I mean, if you look at the overall PS4 base and the amount of VR headsets it sold, it's like really small. Even though the PSVR is the best selling VR headset at the moment, it's still a
Mhm.
small base. Um, but yeah, like in the next few years, there's exciting stuff coming out for Sony, and I mean, like Microsoft has Starfield coming out early next year, which is also exciting.
Yep.
Um,
I really hope that game actually is. decent.
Yeah, but like this year is like I'm happy that God of War is slated to come out this year. There's still, of course, a bit of will it come out? Will it not come out this year? I think it can still get pushed. But I think, like from what I know, like the game is like done, as in they've have a complete game. They just need to polish it really good, and that's probably what they were spending the last few months on.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh wait, yeah. I mean, it doesn't interest you that much, but the is it a remake or a remaster? It's kind of not really clear. But Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is coming out
I think that's a
also this
remake.
fall.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
remake. Yeah,
So that's all. I mean, for the JRPG fans,
yeah,
and specifically for the Final Fantasy VII remake fans or Final Fantasy VII fans in general, that's a big one.
yeah.
So that's coming out this fall or fall winter ish.
I just feel that because
Um,
of probably because
but
of
yeah,
COVID,
hmm.
a lot of games got delayed, and that a lot of and maybe also because of Cyberpunk, that like a lot of people are like, I don't want to be the next Cyberpunk, so I'll just be safe and push
Nobody
my
wants to
game.
be the next
So
Cyberpunk.
exactly, so I think like in that regard, a lot of developers and publishers just playing it safe, and they're like, we feel like this comes near Cyberpunk, we're just gonna push it. And I think
Yeah.
because if you think about it, I think like we're in the second year of a new generation, and I think
Hmm.
in the second year of the
It's been really
PS4,
slow. If you really think about it, it's been really
yeah,
slow.
because in the second year of the PS4, it was really starting to ramp up.
Yeah.
But and now it just feels like, for example, my PS5 is also because it's summer. But besides that, it's like it's barely been on this year. Like I played Horizon Forbidden West on it, which I loved, which I put a lot of
Yeah.
hours in. But after that, it's been like a lot of I turn it on, and after 5 minutes, I'm like, and I turn it off. You know, and
I
I
mean,
know
it
that God
depends
of
on
War
which game
will,
you were playing.
yeah, and I know that God of War will definitely get me back into it, and Modern Warfare will do that as well. Um, but it just like I cannot justify having, and I've said earlier in earlier episodes that like this year is an exciting year to be a PS5 owner, or at least now is the time to get a PS5 because I will stick with my statement saying that now is the time to get a PS5 because you have 2 years
Mhm.
of backlog you can play. But there are a lot of like I think you can get through that depending on what kind of gamer you are. Like if it's you, then it'll take 5 years to get through that backlog. But like if the average gamer will probably finish that in a couple of months as well. So
Don't be a smart aleck.
you know it's
But
true.
I mean, I get it. But I will say this: if you're saying this year is the year for to get a PlayStation 5, I would say early next year would be the best time to get a PlayStation 5 because you would get it with the backlog, but also with the promise of a lot of good games coming out.
Hmm.
The remake of Resident Evil 4 coming out.
Yeah,
Gosh darn it, what else is coming out in early like 2024? Forspoken coming out early
yeah,
2024. Um, I want to say there's something else coming out like on PlayStation 5 that's pretty big early next year. I don't remember what it
I
is.
don't know.
I forget. There's at least like one or two more titles that I'm forgetting right now that's
Yeah,
coming out like early 2025. Sure, they might be multiplats, but that doesn't matter. The fact is that they are good games and they're coming out. It's about the generation in general that I'm talking
yeah.
about. So, um, but the other thing also is if you're looking at multi-platforms, like Microsoft, I mean, we've talked about this before, and yes, like the numbers for Game Pass have been dwindling, but ramping up into next year, even actually like ramping up into the fall and into the winter months, there's a bunch of cool games that are coming out that'll be day and date on Game Pass, or even if it's not day and date, they will eventually come on Game
Yep.
Pass. So I can see those subscriptions ramping up going into like the holiday season and like kind of staying there, and I can see people that maybe not have like a good gaming PC
Hmm.
buying like at the very least a Series S
Yeah,
so they can just use Game Pass on there and just play those games because they can either play it natively or they can stream it in a higher resolution.
yeah. I think the
So there's
key,
that.
like the key marketing aspect of Game Pass is word of mouth. Because like
Yeah.
everyone that I know, there's not a lot of people that I know that do it, but but people that I know that get an Xbox, They're all like, yeah, I got Game Pass with it. I didn't buy a single game with it. I just got Game Pass with it. And
Yeah.
then they'll say that somebody told them or they heard from someone else that they should just get Game Pass because it offers all those games. Um, and I think that's great because eventually the PlayStation Plus collection, the PlayStation Plus tiers, to put it that way, because the collection is something else. It will probably get there as well. Because, for example, I know that a lot of people are looking forward to Stray, and it's coming to PS Plus Extra and above next week, I think, or it's already out there. Maybe
Yeah, it's coming out next week.
is it already
Good
out?
point.
I thought there was like this week or next week that it's
I think
coming.
it's next week.
Let me check. But like a lot of people are looking forward to that game, and
Yeah,
it's
next week.
yeah,
It's
it's
coming
next
out
week.
next week, Tuesday.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
yeah.
See, I hadn't upgraded yet because my PlayStation Plus is going to expire by the end of the month.
Hmm.
So now it's like the perfect time. It's like gonna cost me like €1 to upgrade just for the last couple of like
But then you also
weeks,
actually need to
so I
play
can
it.
play. I can play straight then.
Yeah, but like for example, a lot of people are looking forward to that, so that's like already a very nice inclusion. And I saw that
Yeah.
a lot of Assassin's Creed games got added, will get added next week to the collection. For
Hmm.
example, Assassin's Creed Rogue is one that I still wanted to play, but I never bought, and I saw that it's coming to the collection, so I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll play that. So, I mean, it will get to that point, and yes, people will argue that Sony should take the approach of Microsoft, saying, okay, but they need to bring their games day and date to PlayStation Plus,
They
and
have too much worth.
yeah, I get that, but it's just like, and
No,
that,
I mean like they have way too many games that are coming out. Like initially, I was on the same camp, right?
mhm,
Like why are they not doing it day and date? But after their explanation, someone's explanation that look, they have like so many like exclusives coming out. If they were to like just give people that,
yep,
there would their sales for those games, like
yep,
retail sales, would dwindle really
yep.
quickly, and that's not the point. The point is to get the sales on the single player
Yep,
games.
exactly. And people might, and the reason people don't like it is because Microsoft does it. But that's why I've said in the past, like Microsoft doesn't have the amount of exclusives or the quality of exclusives that Sony has. Yes, they've bought a lot in the last few years, but it's still not up there that when they announce something, people go crazy. Besides maybe it being a Halo, for example, and
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
Starfield
I'm
now.
sure people are also kind of timid on Halo recently.
Yeah, yeah, especially with the because I read the other
They
day.
delayed the co-op
Exactly.
again.
Yeah. It's
And here's the funny part, right? Because the co-op was supposed to go into beta.
yep,
So they delayed the beta of the co-op.
yep,
Although they did release a new video on showcasing, what people can expect on the co-op, which is fine. But I'm assuming that they were going to show that video anyways because
yeah,
they were going to show it because they were releasing the beta, but that got
yeah.
canceled. They're like, you know what? Let's at least give fans something to look forward to. Give them a little, that little nibble, that little taste.
Spice, as you
Um,
call it, always.
the spice,
Yeah,
yes. Well, this is more like salt instead
yeah.
of spice, but
But yeah, I mean, like, and that's why you can counter the argument and say, like, okay, but the quality of exclusive Sony makes, they have to use this strategy because they need to recoup the money they spend on it, because otherwise, literally, these exclusives will not be made because they lose
yeah,
money. Like I saw yesterday that I think it was 2 years ago that Ghost of Tsushima came out, and in 2 years' time, the game has sold nearly 10 million units, which is great for a
not
new
bad.
IP. But honestly, I would have expected a little bit more because I loved Ghost of Tsushima. That was my one of my favorite
Yeah, but
games
do you know why it's less than you expected?
because it came out shortly after The Last of Us Part Two.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though I liked Ghost of Tsushima more than I loved The Last of Us. I think a
All
lot of
right.
people were divided about it, and maybe I have a suspicion that Ghost of Tsushima will come to PC and it will probably boost sales on that as well.
Oh, it'll probably most definitely
Yeah,
come
but
to
like
PC.
I
Yeah.
expected Ghost of Tsushima to be a game that would sell 15 million at least. Because it's
That's a big
just
number.
that good of
It's
a
still a
game.
new, to be fair, it is. I mean, good game or not, it's still a new IP.
Yeah, but exactly. But like
So
if you look at, you haven't played it yet, I think.
not yet,
Yeah, but like if you
but I
look
might
at the
soon.
quality of that game, like as in a new IP, they just knocked it out of the park. It's
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
amazing.
I've seen the reviews. I've seen like people stream it.
Yeah,
Like, I haven't seen anybody that's played Ghost of Tsushima that did not enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of, by the way, if we go back to Ubisoft, um, apparently they're delisting a bunch of games on PC and on other services. So these are games that are already not available to buy.
Hmm.
So the only thing you can do is if you've bought it digitally, you can re-download it, including the DLC. If you've bought the DLC before, you can re-download it. Yeah, they're taking away the ability not just for the multiplayer to be accessible, but also the DLC for a bunch of these games like Assassin's Creed, specifically, I think Liberation.
Okay.
Like the DLC will not be accessible anymore, and apparently some games on Steam got this like message that said, "Yeah, after September, you can't even boot up this game anymore that you bought."
That is weird.
Yeah, that's super weird. So Ubisoft did clarify that actually no, that's not the case, but the message is still on Steam for those games.
Oh shit.
So it's kind of weird. It's like, so who's telling the truth? Like, who's correct? The platform holder, Steam, or the people that that sold you the content?
I would expect just Steam to get like an update and then remove the message. So I would rely on what Ubisoft is saying.
Unless what Ubisoft was saying was what Steam put on the page.
I don't think it's that. I think if Ubisoft made a clear statement around no, it's actually not supposed to be like that. We will fix it. Then maybe Steam hasn't fixed it yet because it's not clear to them how they're going to fix it. But
Well, I hope they do. I hope it's.
yeah,
I hope Ubisoft wasn't lying, because, and you know what? This, aside from the fact that whether or not you can still play those games, you can still re-download those games on Steam or whatever. The fact is still that they're taking down like stuff that you paid for, DLC that you paid for, and making it inaccessible to you.
yeah. That is unfortunate, but that's also like, and that's why the game preservation part probably kicks in. But that is probably going to be more common the further we go in the next few years. And I've said it
Oh
as well,
yes.
like probably next generation will be the last physical generation, or maybe this might even be the last physical generation. I would not be surprised if we like if either next
If they
generation.
keep doing stuff like this, I don't think so.
Yeah, but
If
like
they
it's
keep
not
doing
up to the
stuff like this.
consumer because eventually the companies can argue and say like, yeah, but we've internet has matured in loads of countries. People have decent internet speeds. There's no reason for us to keep on printing our games on discs and having a secondhand market or have retailers sell our games for less. We can just do all digital and make the most amount of money out of the games. So why shouldn't we do that strategy? But I'm telling you, either this generation or at the best next generation is the last physical, and then it's just done. Then we'll go all digital, or maybe even all streaming. Because we're
Mm,
talking about
I
10
don't know.
years.
I don't know. Well, if they're gonna do that, they have to be way better in like preserving and maintaining stuff that you buy. Because at that point, they should not be charging us as much as they are. Because if we're just renting it, then we should be paying rental prices, not these weird, ridiculous, exorbitant
And that's
prices.
probably why services like Game Pass and PlayStation Plus will play an even bigger part in the years to come.
Mm.
I wouldn't be surprised
I
if they
mean, I
add
guess
rental tiers to
maybe.
these services. So,
Oh, that would have. Like I've said for years, like why do we not have rental on like downloadable games? Like you pay $5 a month or something, and then you can like rent a game a month
yeah, but that's
or
too
a week
generous
or
because
whatever.
if you look at how movie streaming services work with it, you pay, for example, $5 and you have 2 or 3 days to watch the movie. So, so
Yeah.
it will be counter lucrative for them to give you that freedom, because in a way you could say like, you know what? Okay, $5, you rent the game for a month, then I'll come over to your place and I'll play the game as well, so that like two people can have played the game. Uh,
No, no. I mean, like
no, but
you
that's
can
kind of
rent
how it
one.
could
No, like
work.
I mean, like you can rent one game a month. And I'm not saying that you can play it for the whole month.
Hmm. But what are you gonna
Like
do if you
just you
rent
can
it?
rent. Yeah, you're gonna play it.
Yeah, but like you just said, like yeah, but you don't. I want to pay $5.
Yeah, I'm not a marketing guy. I
No,
can't
I
work
know,
out
but
all
you're
the
like
details,
contradicting
but
yourself. You're saying like, yeah, but you want to pay $5 to rent the game for a whole month, and then okay, but if you rent the game for a whole month, are you just gonna let it stay like that? You obviously want to play it, right?
oh my goodness
Speaking
gracious
quickly
me.
about Ubisoft, they did an event
Yeah.
around Skull and Bones. They re-announced and re-revealed the game.
They are really pushing Skull and Bones,
Yeah,
even though it looks exactly the same as it did a
yeah,
couple of years ago,
it's coming out this
which is
year.
literally just lifting out the naval battles from like Black Flag and just
Yeah,
that's it.
I do not understand, and maybe because I looked a little bit at the event, and then I was like, "This is too boring for me." I just tuned out. I do not
Mm.
understand why this is not a new IP and they just literally continue off in a way where Assassin's Creed Black Flag left off. So like it's just an open world game with a full character and you can do all sorts of stuff. You have on foot combat and you have naval combat. The naval combat plays a bigger part. And just that, like I do not understand why they're then going in that direction instead of saying it's an open world naval combat game, so you're stuck on a ship and you can upgrade your ships. Like I do not care. I want physical. I want freedom on foot. I do not want to be
And you have
stuck
to
on a
shoot at
boat.
mountains to mine resources
Yeah,
and park next to trees to like chop them.
that's. I mean, like, come on, man. We're in 2022. This is no. You know, you cannot charge $80 for a game
Here's
like
the thing:
this.
the fact that they delayed this game so many times and it's still the same game makes no sense to
I'm
me.
telling you, this game is gonna bomb already. This is like
Oh yeah,
X
absolutely.
Defiant, what, blah blah blah, or
But
Ghost
they're pushing it hard
Recon
because
Battle
like I
Royale.
cannot open any app without seeing a Skull and Bones ad.
Yeah, I know, and it's coming out in November. But
Yeah.
honestly, it's got nobody's gonna play it except maybe, and nobody's gonna like it except maybe those Instagram people that sell their souls to get free stuff. They'll probably endorse the shit out of it, and like, okay, cool, you sold your soul, great, nice,
No.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And
yeah.
also, PlayStation announced PlayStation Stars. You can see it on your background in the video version,
Yep.
like this loyalty program that allows you to earn
I like the
points.
logo. I will say that. That's
Yeah,
the only reason why I have it in the background because it's pretty.
yeah. It's like it's a loyalty program. You can earn points and you can invest those coins into different stuff. So you can get like PlayStation Plus discounts. I think with it, you can get PlayStation Plus.
hmm
Uh, how do you call it? Uh,
I
money for
yeah,
it to put it that
icons
way.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
you can earn the points and then you can put it in your PlayStation wallet and you can buy stuff with it on the PlayStation Store. There'll be
and you can earn
challenges.
also digital goods like trophies
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
stuff like that. They say it's not NFT, so calm your tits.
Okay.
It's not NFT.
Yeah, it'll be
Which is good because they have to say it because it sound like the way they describe it in the blog post, it sounded a lot like
yeah.
NFTs. So it's like trophies and
I
stuff that's
think it,
like specifically for you.
it yeah,
Really?
I think it's comparable to the Nintendo My Points system. Like when you buy a game, you get points for it and stuff like that. But then maybe a little
Yeah,
bit deeper. At least that's what I was thinking about.
yeah.
It's coming out later this year. I'm not a person that's waiting for stuff like this. Maybe I like it. I don't know.
Mm.
I mean, like I like battle passes in the games that I play because it motivates me to try different play styles and try to earn certain items and cosmetics. Um, but it then needs to be a really good game for me to buy the battle pass. So
Well, to be fair, PlayStation Stars is very similar to basically My Nintendo
yeah,
in it, where you buy when you buy games digitally or you buy them physically, you get like gold points, and those gold points translate to like real money discount. And you can save those and then use it when you buy like DLC or like a game or whatever on the eShop. But you also earn like platinum points, and those are basically missions that you do in games or on the My Nintendo website and stuff like that, and that earns you other goods. They started with digital goods like wallpapers and stuff like that, but now you can like get, for example, a tote bag from Animal Crossing, which has the Dodo Airlines logo on it. So it's like basically it's like an in-game thing, but it's real,
oh
and
nice.
you can buy it with the points.
You can get
You do have
coasters
to
for
pay the
games and
shipping
stuff like
fees
that.
for it, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, like you can get wallpapers and like notebooks, and at a certain point, Um, I hope they will add the ability to like get games on there as well,
Hmm.
because they used to do that back in the old Club Nintendo days, where if you saved up enough points, you could buy like digital games,
Oh, that's nice.
which is really cool. I think you could also buy like currently you can buy like discount vouchers for like eShop games. At least they did that back in the 3DS days. So you could buy like a voucher. It's like, oh yeah, like 30% off on this game in the eShop. So I hope PlayStation Stars kind of goes that way, and they'll eventually also add um, more what do you call it again?
Rewards.
Physical rewards, not
Yep.
just digital ones, because then it gets really exciting.
Yep.
So yeah, that's PlayStation Stars. Looking forward to that. Also looking forward to Bayonetta 3,
Yeah.
which is coming out October 28th, like 2 days before Halloween.
I think it's the
Which
same day Call of Duty comes
perfect.
out. Modern
What,
Warfare.
seriously?
I think so. Yeah, I think
No.
so. Let me
Well,
check.
that's gonna be
I have it
interesting.
in my calendar because I took the day off for it. Yeah, it comes out October 28th. It's the Modern Warfare day.
Also a good reminder for me to take the day off for Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, I
I've been
already have
looking forward to
my
that a
friends
long time.
on standby for when Modern Warfare drops that day. I took
Mm,
the whole weekend
okay.
off.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, I'll
You're
probably
gonna be grinding the multiplayer.
yeah. But also, Nintendo bought a CG animation studio, and that is now renamed to Nintendo Pictures, I believe.
Yeah.
I do not know if this is. I don't know how to feel about this move, but let alone how you feel about this move.
Yeah. I mean, the only actual positive thing about this is at the very least, Nintendo would be in charge of making their own stuff and they don't have to rely on like
Third party.
Illumination to do their stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if. Like,
I don't know.
we've talked about this often, and it's tricky to make a video per project, to put it that way, around the game, especially if you make it real life, because people have certain expectations. You know,
Well, I mean, if it's a CG studio, then I'm pretty sure they're just gonna do CG movies.
yeah, yeah, probably. But like, for example, The Last of Us. I read the other day that the TV show is slated to come out early next year, and even
Mhm.
though we see some tidbits leaking out here and there around set pictures and stuff like that, it's even though there are really big names attached to it, like Pedro Pascal, I forget the name, the girl who played in Game of Thrones, the producer behind um, Chernobyl, Neil Druckmann is in on it and writing along. But even then, I'm still like, this could go either way. It's not a guaranteed hit. It could still go a completely different direction, you know?
Yeah.
Just because of the appearances alone. Like, I do not think that the girl they casted for Ellie is the right fit. She just doesn't come near the appearance of Ellie, you know. And they probably have their reasons why they casted the girl. But the same goes for Joel. I'm like, I don't know if he's the right fit. Like, I know I have a certain actor in my mind. It's like it would be the perfect Joel because he basically looks like Joel, you know. That's why you're like, and that's why you get into that territory of like people having
Yeah.
certain expectations when it comes to this. That's probably the reason why the Metal Gear movie has never been made so far because people have high, huge expectations of that,
Yep.
and then
Plus, they missed the boat on it anyways
yeah,
because
nobody cares now. It's the window's closed.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
the
and then you
window's
have Nintendo
closed.
bringing out Super Mario, and then it's voiced by Chris Pratt. Like, oh, why? Just why
I
not
don't
use the
know.
original voice actor?
I don't know. I mean, he does cameo in it, Charles Martinet, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's weird.
I know. I think lastly we have the Unity merger. That Unity is going to merge or is bought by a company that made malware or something like that,
Yeah,
or with an advertising
it's pretty
company.
like it. Like here's the thing. It's like it's a very elaborate issue. Um, but basically, like first they told people that work at Unity that, you know, even though our stocks are doing bad and blah blah blah, Don't worry, you're not going to be losing your jobs. And then they proceeded to fire about 300 people. So that's not good. And then they merged with this other company called what is it called again? Yeah, this ad agency called Iron something, Iron Source. And yeah, it's an ad agency. They make ads, but they've also made malware installers. So, and yeah, people are really nervous that the engine is going to be compromised because of this company and their dealings. And the CEO of Unity, John Riccatella, who was formerly
Is
of
John
EA.
Riccitello the CEO of Unity? I
Hmm.
did not know that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He in a recent interview was like, "Yeah, developers that don't monetize their games from the get go are effing idiots."
Okay.
Um, so yeah,
I did not know.
developers were not really keen about that comment right there.
I think
At
it
least the Unity developers.
it
So
only pushes people more towards Unreal, I think, or
oh
CryEngine
yeah,
or other stuff.
there were a lot of developers online, on Twitter and stuff saying like, "Ooh, not sure if I'm gonna stick around for Unity." They're like looking around, maybe like moving to Unreal. And Unreal 5 is, I mean, the Unreal Engine has been free to use for quite some time, and with Unreal Engine 5 being as bombastic as it is, with a lot of cool resources, people are starting to look if they're not just gonna switch to
Yeah.
Unreal or some other engine.
Yeah, I don't know if it's how long it takes, but there's this guy and he has a YouTube channel where he basically puts out videos where he remakes games in Unreal Engine, and it's usually like a couple of
Mm.
minutes what he shows off, but like he's shown off some pretty big games in Unreal Engine 5, and that's I think it's just like this one guy that does it. And if he can already achieve that level just by himself, imagine what a whole team could do working dedicated on, because he's done remakes for like Red Dead Redemption, for GTA Vice City, for San Andreas. I think he's even done like a Superman game. So he's like just, I don't know if it's his portfolio or a way to get into the industry. But when I see it like that, I'm like, okay, I don't know how much you spent on, how much time you spent on this, but this really looks good for what you've done as a one man army. Imagine if the team that did the GTA trilogy remake actually put the resources and the time into it, then they would have like an amazing result.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear, by the way, that there was supposed to be like a Red Dead Revolver and
Yeah.
remake, but they canceled it because of the backlash
Yep.
of the
And
trilogy?
also a GTA 4
Honestly,
remake. Yeah.
it's for the best.
Yeah, but the funny thing
They need
is,
to like they need to re-strategize how they're gonna do stuff like this in the future,
the funny thing is, I think it sold more than 10 million the
which
remake,
is the sad part.
and
But I'm pretty sure that most of them are pre-orders.
probably. But I would expect them to say like, "Oh wow, we sold 10 million. That's more than we expected. Oh, we should do it." Or maybe they expected more than 10 million, and that's the reason why they didn't. Because they
I think
also,
it's a combination of the two.
yeah, because they were also working on a next gen update for Red Dead Redemption 2, and they've apparently stopped working on that. Um, there was
Okay,
like
that makes no
a
sense.
player funeral event, I think, this past week for Red Dead Redemption 2, because um, basically the game doesn't get any content, and the player base has said like, okay, this game is officially dead. And I think that
Hmm.
Rockstar is not even producing any content for Red Dead Online, even though they said it was going to be bigger than GTA Online when it initially came out. Yeah, like the
Hmm.
fact that it still does not have heists in it, just it's such an obvious thing to add. But no, they would rather add the bounty hunter pack. Like, who cares about a bounty hunter? Yeah.
I don't know. Ah
Anyways,
well.
yeah, I think that's it for the news, right?
Yeah, I think those are at least the biggest news that caught our attention.
Yeah.
So stick around. We'll be right back with what we've been playing. And welcome back ladies and gentlemen, to the second segment, which is, of course, what we've been playing. So, Sean Templar, what have you been playing?
I have been playing. I haven't played any Guardians of the Galaxy since I last spoke about it. I really feel like I have to be in the mood for it.
Mm.
But what I have
Set some
been playing,
candles, put some sauce, like smooth jazz on.
it's not like that. Maybe I should put on some rock and roll music because it's more like that. But what I
All
have
right,
been
fair, fair.
playing is more of Battlefield
Mm-hmm.
2042. Um, I really feel that it's been fixed. And the reason I say that is because I've been playing, like, I think a couple of days a week now for a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like um, it feels like when I used to play Battlefield years ago. You know, I've been getting a lot of kills. I've been placing in the top five consecutively, sometimes even first, in 128 player matches. So that's like, whoa, okay. Um, I've been having these moments where I just pull off these crazy Battlefield moments, and I'm like, yes, this is the reason why I play Battlefield.
Yeah.
I've bought the battle pass. I'm just playing and doing the challenges for the battle pass. I like how the battle pass pushes you to try different operators or specialists, as they call them, and different play styles and weapons. Um, the new map Exodus, which is basically a merger of Damavand Peak from Battlefield 3, and it feels a little bit like Operation Metro. I really like that map. They now have like this limited time mode game mode called Exodus Conquest, which means that they basically grab all the maps, or at least a couple of maps from Battlefield Portal, so Battlefield Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, and they mix it up. So then you get like 3 games of maps, which is
Mm-hmm.
really nice because sometimes then you're suddenly on Caspian Border, which is like a classic in Battlefield 2 or 3. And then the next match, you're in Valparaiso, which is a Bad Company 2 map, or Erica Harbor. And it's like all these classic maps that I really enjoyed a lot back in the day playing Battlefield Bad Company 2 or Battlefield 3. It's just done with the modern twist with the weapons and the gadgets, but I really, really like it. And then on occasion, I play hardcore through Portal, but yeah, those servers aren't always full, so I just stick to the main all-out warfare mode. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm just playing it by myself. And honestly, I do not mind because I like going out in that lone wolf style. I mix it up with the specialists. I sometimes play with there's this Korean specialist who has like this visor, and she can use it to see through walls for a limited time. Or there's this specialist that has like a wingsuit, so she can glide around the whole map. So I really like it. And besides that, yesterday I started playing Demon Souls, the remake, and I haven't gotten far yet. And I've had my ass kicked a couple of times because I need to keep in mind that you have stamina, you can't attack unlimited. So sometimes I go into action game mode and think like, oh, I can chop you up, and then I die. But yeah, I've chosen a magician because I've watched like somebody do a whole playthrough, and they always say like the magician is the best starter class because you have ranged attacks to use, like you have your magic wand, which you can use for ranged attacks, and you have a sword and a shield for close combat. It looks amazing. I'm playing it in performance mode, so 60 FPS. I love it. I don't have need to have the whole 4K, and yeah, I'm just like in the first world or whatever you call it. I
Mhm.
don't know if I'll ever finish it, but you know, I feel like I could just try to play this and miss some more and more. And maybe if Elden Ring is on sale next year, I'll maybe buy it and just try it out. Because I know, like, I hear a lot of people say Elden Ring is great, and I really want to try it, but I don't want to try it for $80 because if I don't like it that much, then I don't feel bad if I haven't spent $80 on it. So,
Gee, if only there were game rentals.
uh, or other people will say, if only you had a physical edition PS5, then you could buy it secondhand. I'm like, yeah,
Or borrow it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically what I've been playing. I'm really looking forward to next month when Formula One Manager comes out. I really want to play that. I have some other games installed on my PS5 as well, like Ghost of Tsushima, the director's cut. I transferred my save over. I haven't started playing it anything yet because I do want to play the Iki Island expansion. Um, I know I need to give my Switch some love, but I'm neglecting my Switch still. I've just taken it out of the dock and turned it off to save the battery, to prevent any degrading, because I'm afraid it's still gonna be a while before I turn my Switch on. Um,
Oh dear.
but yeah, that's basically what I've been playing. What have you been playing?
Oh, well, there's a bunch of things I've been playing, but let's start with the big one. I finally finished Xenoblade Chronicles, the first game,
Yay!
the definitive edition on
Oh,
Switch.
nice.
It only took me 3 generations and 10 years.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Xenoblade is a game that, like, as I just said, I bought back in the day on the Wii. I bought the collector's edition of that one.
Nice.
Came with a red Pro controller, which is really pretty.
Ooh.
Um, and I played, I think, almost halfway through the game, but I got so like bogged down with side quests. I was just doing side quests. It's like I have to do the side quest. I have to do the side quest, and it kind of drove me insane. And then I stopped because it didn't. Because I was every time I tried to further the story, I'd either get bogged down and I have to grind, and when you grind, you do side quests. Tried it again with the new 3DS version when the new 3DS came out. Didn't even get. I think I got to, like, Xenoblade fans will know this level, this area, Satoral Marsh. Um, so didn't even get past Satoral Marsh. I think I did some Colony 6 stuff, but yeah, that's as far as I got. And then on the Switch, it came out. I do regret not getting the collector's edition because it came with a sweet ass red vinyl
Oh, nice.
with like a beautiful design of the Monado. It's like, oh yeah, that's really freaking cool. Um, so my heart breaks for that, but I still got the game anyways, and yeah, it's taken a while for me to beat it. Um, I don't even remember, but I put at least over 80 hours after I finally beat the game.
Yeah.
And then I played Future Connected, which is the epilogue that they added to the definitive edition, which was a part of the game that they wanted to add originally, but they ran out of disk space to do so because again and
What
they couldn't do
a
it on the 3DS because 3DS.
what a sucky technical
Um,
limitation to have.
yeah, but you know what? It's fine because now we get to experience it for the first time in HD with in the same engine as Xenoblade 2, which I did beat before I beat one, but they're story wise not connected, so it's fine. Um, but the end of Xenoblade does hint at something franchise wide,
Hmm.
so it makes so you're like, oh, okay, so that's what happened at the end of this game. That kind of sort of explains why Xenoblade 2 is different, and it also explains why Xenoblade 3 is different. So I'm looking forward to 3.
Three is coming out next week
Um,
or the week after.
No, in 2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks.
So as you're listening to this, as it goes live next week, yes.
Mm.
Um, but so I played that. That was so satisfying. It was really good. I actually played it on a stream a little bit after the Xenoblade 3 direct, and one of the community members was like, "Hey, why don't you just play it on casual mode?" Because I was getting stuck on like this really hard um like not even a boss, it's like a like a level boss, so like a mini boss, and it's like, you know what, I don't want to do casual because I don't want it to be that easy, but it's like, you know what, screw it, I put it on casual anyways, and it's like it doesn't make it necessarily easier, but it makes it more manageable so that you can continue and actually experience the story, which I am grateful for because it allowed me to actually beat the game.
Mm.
um, doesn't take away all the challenge. You still have to be strategic. You can't just blindly attack. You have to be strategic about how you attack still. Um, so, like, it's not like, hey, you played it on casual mode, so, like, you're a fake fan or whatever. No, no. It's still a viable way to play, which is nice. Future Connected is really good. It's short. It's, I think, maybe 15 hours if you do literally everything. And I did literally everything because it's like a smaller game. So I was able to like complete that. Got all the items, got all the. I didn't get all the armor sets, so technically not completely complete, but I got all the stuff that you could collect in the level. I did all the side quests, and the final boss was pretty cool. The final moments is really cool. The ending cutscene is really nice. The music in it is so good. Um, and I can't wait to play Xenoblade 3 when that comes out. So that was exciting.
Nice.
I also played Live Alive, the demo that came out, which I urge people to play. If you're a JRPG fan and you've never heard of Live Alive, or you've seen the direct, or you've seen my reaction to it, um, there's a reason why people are excited for this game, because this game never came out in the West when it was initially released on the Super Famicom back in the day. Um, Now we're getting an official translation, and it's in the beautiful HD 2D. And like I streamed the demo, and everybody was saying like, "Oh, this game looks really pretty. I'm gonna try it for myself."
Oh,
And I was like,
nice.
"Yes, please do," because it's a very unusual JRPG. Even as a JRPG is very unusual, because the way it is, you have these eight protagonists from different periods of time with um, their own missions essentially. And what happens is when you get through their own missions, something happens and it will flip the game up its head. I don't want to spoil it for those that want to explore it,
Okay.
but the demo does try the save file of the demo transfers over, so it is worth playing the demo. And if you like the demo, hey, that's an invitation to buy the game and experience the full story. The demo covers three chapters, the beginning of three chapters: Twilight of the Edo, Imperial China, and Distant Future. And they all play a bit different. I would say Imperial China is the most traditional like style of JRPG, so turn-based combat, blah blah blah. Imperial Twilight of Edo is slightly different. You still have combat in there, but you're also encouraged to not engage in combat. If you want to go around and like kill everybody, you can, but it is encouraged to sneak around because you're a ninja.
Mm.
So good ninja sneaks around and has like minimal body count. A bad ninja is one that goes around being all noisy and kills everybody.
That would basically be a samurai, so.
Yeah. So the game also like tallies like every time you kill an enemy, it'll say, "Oh, you killed this many enemies."
Mm.
So it'll remind you of that. There is an optional boss battle for that one, which is really hard, which I think you are only able to pass if you level up, which means you'd have to kill a bunch of people before you get to that mini boss. So eventually, well, after I died a couple of times, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna skip this guy. It's not worth. It's not worth it. It's not worth my headache. Um, so I did that, and the last one is the distant future one, which has on its own zero combat. It's all story, but there is a mini game that where you play as this commander, and that's where the battle system comes into play. But like the story itself has no combat. It's all story. You're playing this little round robot called Cube.
Okay.
Yeah. The story does seem a bit interesting because it really has like alien vibes, like the movie Alien, not aliens, Alien.
Hmm.
The fact that you're like a robot, android.
When is it coming out?
Um, it's coming actually. It's coming out a week before Xenoblade
Oh,
3.
nice.
So if you're a
So next
JRPG
week.
fan, it's like, well, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's coming out this Friday. As you're listening to it, this Friday, it's coming out. It's like, and then like in a week later, and I'm pretty sure it's a long game. So like I don't think like if you dedicate like a weekend to it, you probably could beat Live Alive. Because it's still a Super Famicom game, so I don't think it's really ridiculously long, but it's still pretty long. Um, so yeah, download the demo if you haven't. Try it out. See what you think of it. If you like it, pick it up. Let me know somewhere on the internets what you think of Live Alive. And the last thing that I played um, was more Monster Hunter.
Yay.
I play more Monster after, because I put Monster Hunter on the back burner, trying to finish Xenoblade. So when I finished that, I went back to playing more Sunbreak. I've been going through that slowly but surely. I'm trying to get some certain weapons and gears so that when I go to the next rank, I have like decent weapons, so I can easily switch instead of, oh, this monster requires this weapon. I don't have a strong enough weapon in that category. I have to go grind again. So I'm doing the grinding now so that I have certain weapons so that when I move forward further in the story, I won't have to grind as much.
I can understand that.
So yeah, so that's what I've been playing.
Cool. And with that, we've come to another episode of Game Rivals. It was a very
Yes, we
short
have.
one, at least it felt like a short one. I think we maybe
It is a
clocked in
short
like
one.
an hour. But yeah, there's not a lot happening.
Yeah.
But I think like in the next weeks, there should be more happening because Gamescom is coming up. So
Hmm.
yay. Uh, so thank you as always for tuning in to this episode of Game Rivals. You can find us on your favorite podcasting platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Google, Stitcher. We're there. Do also consider telling your friends and family about us because there's no discovery regarding podcasting or on podcast platforms. So we really have to rely on word of mouth. So consider, please share if you like our show. Please share it with your friends and family. Um, you can find us on YouTube as well. The link is in the description of this episode. It goes live the day and date as the audio version. We're on Twitter, game underscore rivals underscore. You can also find Maximilian on Twitter at Maximillian. Um, let's see, you can email us gamerivalsfeedback@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram at gamerivals and at Maximilian underscore X. Maximilian also streams on Twitch, so that is twitch.tv/Maximilian underscore X.
Yep.
We're on TikTok, same names, Game Rivals, Maximilian underscore X. And I believe on that note, I have covered them all.
Hmm.
On that note, I am and always will be SeanTemplar,
I am, and I always will be Maximilian X.
and we'll catch you on the next one.
Later.